Fireside Chat. Nathan, this is Trevor. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about sleep and how to build a routine. So today's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to write something on the board, and then Trevor is just going to quickly explain about how to build a routine and how to implement that into your life. So today we're going to start off with sleep, and we're going to go for somewhere realistic number 7 to 9 hours.
Yeah, so the 7 to 9 hours is actually not amount of time in bed. So you actually probably need to add about an hour to an hour and a half to that. So if I want to get 7 hours of sleep, I actually need to go to bed with 8.5 hours of sleep available. The idea is we actually need 7 hours of sleep to 9 hours of sleep, not 7 to 9 hours of time in bed. It usually takes somebody in the middle of the night will have awake cycles. That would be anywhere from 10 minutes if you're a really good sleeper, all the way up to an hour and a half if you're a pretty bad sleeper. So you do have to make sure on that 7 to 9 hours of sleep, we're getting consistent time in bed. It's probably an hour longer than that. So if you're looking to get 7 hours, you have to get 8 hours in bed.
So there you have it. So there's our minimum goal of what we're trying to aim for. So if we're under this, we can definitely feel tired the next day, feel lethargic, we're not going to have enough energy, metabolism's affected. So now that we have the set number that we're trying to reach, let's start creating a routine on how to get there. So let's talk about a nice, relaxing shower.
So a sleep routine is something that the key with routine is doing it often enough, right? So this is the idea is you need to do this at least 5 days a week, if not up to 7 days a week. The more consistent you are with this routine, the more habitual it becomes, and the better your body starts to realize it's time to sleep. So with a shower, that's going to start about 30 minutes before bed. We're looking for not a crazy hot shower, and we don't want to get it too cold either. We want to be a nice mild temperatures because either extremes can cause the body to do different things. We want to have a nice comfortable shower, and you want to make sure that you're using it more of a relaxation technique than anything else.
All right. Next up, we're going to talk a little bit about stretching.
So stretching is something that people probably don't do enough of in general, but trying to get the body relaxed as possible is our goal. So the big areas we want to focus on are going to be the lower back and hamstring area. They're the areas that take the biggest beating during a sleep period. Also something to do with the shoulder position. So like a good starting position would be like laying on your back, getting your hamstring above your head into a full hamstring stretch, or putting it over top of a bench and stretching that out as well. Doing something like a child's pose position too, doing some deep breathing in a child's pose position, let the lower back relax. Probably only need somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes most. Probably close to that 5 minutes is plenty if you're focusing on the lower back and hamstring.
There you go. All right, stretching. Next up, we're going to talk about writing or brain dump.
Yeah. So the concept of brain dumping is literally trying to get all the thoughts out of your head as quick as possible so our brain's not thinking about those over the night, right? So it's just dumping out things like things I have to do tomorrow. If you don't have them down on your calendar already, make sure they're already down on a calendar, written out on a piece of paper. Any extra thoughts or ideas that have been going through your head recently, you're just trying to get as much out of your brain as possible so the brain can shut down and say, okay, I have these things trapped. I don't have to hold on to them in my short-term memory, and I can go ahead and get rid of them real quick. And that's going to allow you to have a deeper, mindful sleep.
All right. Next up, we're going to talk a little bit about breathing, which goes a little bit with stretching.
So we do separate the breathing and stretching, but they can be done at the same time. So the idea is with the breathing is concentrating on the capacity of our lungs, and it's going to breathe in through the nose. And we want to do about a box style breathing. So box style breathing is in through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4 as I'm breathing in. Hold it for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold that for 4 seconds, right? So we're doing that for a box of that, doing 5 reps of that box. What we're trying to do is just let our body relax. You can do it in tons of different positions. A 90-90 angle where you're laying on the ground. You can do it in a child's pose position. You can just literally being lying in bed and do that deep breathing while you're in bed. But you're just trying to let the nervous system turn down and go into that parasympathetic nervous system.
Excellent. Next up, we're going to talk about reading and a certain type of reading. We shouldn't do one type, and there's another type we want to do.
So with reading, the main thing with reading is really what you're reading in. So trying not to read on your phone. If you do read on a Kindle, something that has no blue light style to it, and a hardcover book's going to be your best. We're looking for as relaxing as possible. So they usually say fictional reading, but the caveat to that is like it can't be too exciting of fictional. If you're somebody that starts to read a book and can't stop reading a book, that's the wrong kind of fictional. You're trying to get something that's going to make you sleepy. We're also probably not looking for business or like as much nonfiction things, because that gets the brain really thinking and gets us into that deep thinking process. We're trying not to get in that as well. This is a great time for magazines. This is a great time for books that you've been wanting to read through. They're kind of a good topic for you, but they're not overly exciting. Like, I don't know. A good example of a good book would be like a Harry Potter, right? It's a book that you can probably read through. You know what's going to happen, but it's not going to get you overly excited.
Awesome. Next up, we're going to talk about a little bit, Trevor touched on it, eliminating blue light.
That's something that's a lot harder to do nowadays, and most iPhones automatically go into a protective mode, which reduces blue light. You can go into your Android as well and click it down and click blue light setting too. What that does is it reduces the blue light, but that doesn't stop the blue light from coming through. So a couple different tips you can do. If you're somebody that has to be on your phone towards the end of the night, you can wear blue light blocking glasses, which can help out with that. Trying to shut off, like in my room, I'm trying to go through and like get all the little blue lights in the room itself blocked off so that they're not brightening my room at night. Also stopping watching TV 30 minutes before bed, being on the phone 30 more minutes before bed. I know some of those things are in your mind unrealistic right now. So the better part would be maybe getting blue light glasses, which is like $10, or trying to get things that can help reduce that and reduce the stimulation of that.
Awesome. Next up, we're going to talk about making the room as dark as possible.
This has been something I've been working on really the last couple weeks, harder than I ever have before. So I got room darkening shades. So what those help to do is get the room as dark as possible. I went through and taken every little dot that's in the room that kind of brightens up, and I've covered it with some masking tape, or really duct tape, to make it really make sure it doesn't shine through that. What I do is then I go in my bedroom, I close the door, and I see how dark does the room get. I even just got something for underneath my door that's meant to stop breezes from coming in and out. What it does is it stops, somebody turns the light on outside the room, it doesn't come underneath the door. So trying to make the room as physically dark as possible, it allows your body to just shut down and know it's time to sleep. And also in the morning when the sunlight comes through, and I know some people like the sunlight to wake them up, but the problem is if the sunlight's waking you up, the moon's probably keeping you awake as well. So you got to kind of really be aware of that part, is like, what sacrifice am I willing to give, and how quality of a sleep do I want?
Awesome. Next up, we're going to talk about music. Should we listen to Mozart and Beethoven, or should we listen to Drake and Nicki Minaj?
Well, music before bed, it depends on how you're using it. So if you're using it to fall asleep to, you probably shouldn't use anything that has words to it. So that would be more like a Beethoven would be a little bit better. White noise is really the ideal category for that. It's something that gets your brain, it shuts all the other sounds around you off. It gives your brain something to kind of like put into it, but music that's stimulating is not what we're looking for. Something that's calming and relaxing. If you're using it just to fall asleep, definitely on that Beethoven side or classical music side. It could be like Disney music, but without the words, things of that nature. But the big thing you're looking for is making sure that you're not trying to use it to fall asleep, because it's actually stimulating the brain too much. So a white noise would be a little bit better for you.
Nice. So say I'm following all of these, or I'm doing a good chunk of these. Oh yeah, I adopt 3 of these things to do into my sleep routine. It really helps me fall asleep at night. But now I'm waking up every 2 to 3 hours. Is there any strategies you have in place to help prevent me from waking up?
Well, a lot of these things are to help you from like getting it. So there's 4 categories of sleep. So there's the light sleep, which is where we spend about 50% of our time. Okay. Then there's deep sleep, which is an is a controllable sleep. So deep sleep is where we're in our deepest of sleep, and that can be controlled. All these things here are help us to get in that deepest of sleep as possible. There's REM sleep, which you've heard a ton of times, but it's an uncontrollable sleep. That's just what the brain needs to rebuild. So the deep sleep is to redo our physical side. The REM sleep is for the brain side, and the brain controls that. If it needs 2 hours, it gets 2 hours. If it needs 4 hours, it gets 4 hours. Realistically, at most, it probably needs 3 hours. Or if it needs 30 minutes, we get 30 minutes. From there, then there's awake time. So there is awake time. So what we're trying to do is there are some things that can help us reduce the awake time. One of the things is going to be making sure you're not drinking water too close to bed, so you're not getting up, have to go to the bathroom every 2 to 3 hours. Another thing would be like less stimulating things. So creating like these habits over time, the less stimulating it has, the less your body's going to be in that wake time and be up for a while. So causing this routine will really help you be able to reduce that. Another thing that's helped me out a lot is a thing like CBD oil, or some type of a thing like that to help you get into a deeper sleep. Essential oils is something we talked about too. You can put those in a diffuser if you have one of those. Put essential oils in there. You have to be very specific. There's different types of oils that are very good for sleep compared to ones that aren't good for sleep. But you're looking for those things that can keep throughout the night that will help you continue that onslaught. I use melatonin as well, about 5 milligrams of that, and I use that as a slow time release one. So over the hours of the night, it'll keep me a little bit. It will slowly release itself, and I won't stay in as deepest. I'll stay in a deeper sleep throughout.
Nice. So we have all of these things here. We brought up all of this. Notice how cheap all of these options are. Now, none of these cost very much. I mean, if you go and buy dark curtains, or you want to constantly buy books, or if you're going to buy a journal, those things cost like minimal dollars. But there are some expensive things out there as well. If you want to spend a little bit more money, say for like cooling techniques, talk a little bit about some of those things you've heard before.
Yeah, I mean, I've personally spent a lot of money on my sleep routine because I wanted to do, and one of them is like I have it's a cooler for the bed. Escaping my mind.
Chili
right now.
pad.
Chili pad. Yeah, I have a chili pad for my bed. So the chili pad, with the goal for that is to go ahead and like it cools the bed itself, or it heats the bed if you're looking for that as well. And it's try to keep that temperature as cool possible. Along with that, keeping your bedroom, 65 to 68 degrees. That can cost a little bit more because you're keeping it a little bit lower depending on the time of year. So that's something that's a little bit more expensive. I'm willing to spend like the few dollars extra to make sure my room stays nice and cool. Outside of that, supplements can be a little expensive. CBD oil is definitely expensive to have that before bed. I do a CBD gummy technically that has melatonin in it. That's $50 a month roughly. So like there are things that can be a little bit more expensive. The shades aren't that expensive depending on if you have shades or not in your house. It's if you have to get the whole routine. I had to get all parts of the shade and the curtains and stuff of that nature. I can't think of anything. I mean, there are some deep sleep things out there that you can get that can really get you in deep sleep with different noise machines and stuff. It depends on how good a sleep that you're having, and being able to track your sleep with an app like a sleep cycle can be kind of valuable too, because the sleep cycle, a lot of the iPhones have those in it, or iWatches have them in them, or Fitbits I think are starting to get some sleep stuff in theirs. I use a Whoop band too, but they can track your sleep and you can start to see your wake time and different things of that nature.
Awesome. Well, there you have it. Sleep. Right now it's extremely important. We're dealing with a lot of stress. So a lot of good strategies here on how to combat and build a nice solid routine for you guys. This is Nathan Trevor signing off.
Have a great day, guys.